My name is Layla Chisholm, and today I will be presenting my project, The Fourth Wave, Intersectional Feminism and Women of Color. In order to understand intersectional feminism and the role that social work plays in this area of social justice, we must first understand feminism as a whole. Western feminism has evolved since it first made its public appearance by way of women's suffrage in the mid-1800s. Whether it was the right to vote or bodily autonomy, there was always something worth fighting for, and that was exactly what women did. Though the history of feminism highlights the brave and unending battle of countless women, there's an incredible lack of diversity. The equally great accomplishments of many other influential women of color are overlooked in efforts to whitewash and centralize the movement altogether. This is something that's seen within the first wave, second wave, and even the third wave of feminism. And though we may look at the way things were and believe that we, as a far more progressive generation, have done a better job with intersectionality than those before us, this may not be the case. Because of the efforts to simplify feminism, to make it more inclusive to everyone, the idea of being one woman has greatly erased the complexities that all different kinds of women experience, specifically women of color, and how that divides them from their white counterparts. This is where a true issue arises, so much so where a lot of theorists have wondered if maybe we need a fourth wave of feminism in order to include all kinds of women. So you may be wondering, what does this have to do with social work? Well, according to Dr. Anne-Marie Yamada, a professor at USC, intersectionality refers to the intersection or meeting point of identities that shape an individual's standing within society. Combining different identities, whatever they may be, but race and gender in this case, creates a unique set of life experiences based on differences in privilege and oppression. Social work focuses carefully on this meeting point in order to address the different complexities that one faces as a result of not only sexism, which feminism directly fights against, but racism as well. Social work's code of ethics directly juxtaposes these two systems of oppression, and as a result, makes feminism that is more inclusive to women of color a top priority. Intersectionality highlights the uniqueness of individuals and benefits everyone, because the more that we recognize the things that make us different, the easier it is to come together towards a common goal. As I mentioned earlier, the National Social Work Code of Ethics that we're all pretty familiar with at this point in the semester aligns pretty well with intersectional feminism and what it stands for, specifically in talking about the dignity and worth of a person, which has to do with treating people respectfully, being mindful of the differences that we may have culturally and ethnically, and the importance of human relationships, which has to do with the ways in which we interact with each other and how important those interactions are for change. So, on what levels does social work intervene in intersectional feminism and invoking change within the feminist agenda? I believe that both the macro and meso levels are impacted. On the micro level, counseling is a major part of invoking change within intersectional feminism. Counseling women of color through their everyday experiences with both racism and sexism is very beneficial, not only for the people that it helps, but also for social workers to further their education on the differences between women of color and their white counterparts. I also believe that on the meso level, people like Faye Reimers, who devoted 15 years of her career to studying the intersection of race and gender and how that impacts social standing, can go out into the community and improve these situations. Not only is it helping people on a personal level, but benefiting entire communities that may feel the social imbalances of race as compared to white women in their struggle for equality to their male counterparts. Now, I don't necessarily believe that there is a huge impact on the macro level. However, I do feel that more work on the micro and meso levels would lead to a possible change in the ways that the nation that we live in views women in comparison to their male equivalents and women of color in feminist spaces. So, as individuals, as college students, what can we do? I think the first step is acknowledging that there is an issue. Oftentimes, it's difficult to see the importance of advocating for things that don't directly impact us or those around us. However, injustice of any kind is everyone's problem, and it impacts everyone, especially when you think about it in terms of social work and activism. So we acknowledge that there is an issue, acknowledging that there is a gender imbalance, and then within that there is a racial imbalance is incredibly important. Oftentimes we believe that we do live in a post-racial society, and that is not necessarily the case. So by paying attention to this fact and acknowledging that this is an issue, we can work towards that ideal and come together to get there. From there, education is the next step. I believe that education on issues is the best tool, learning about the topic and then teaching others, educating others with the information that you've learned is what social work is all about, helping other people and benefiting one another so that our society as a whole can benefit. And from there, taking action as an activist. Now, not necessarily activism as in devoting your life to being a radical feminist or anything of that sort, but making the decision that there is a problem and that you as a person can change it, whether that is on a personal level in changing the interactions that you have with other people or on a global scale and like I said, devoting your entire life to radical feminism. We can all do our part to make a change and better our societies. That's my presentation. I hope you all learned a lot about intersectional feminism and the way that social work is impacted, and will feel more encouraged to go forward and make a change and give voices to everyone because we all deserve to be heard.